Toxic behaviors that look like love from your narcissistic partner. Have you ever felt deeply loved by someone yet somehow ended up feeling emotionally exhausted and confused at the same time? What if the behaviors you believed were signs of devotion were actually carefully disguised forms of emotional control and manipulation? Many narcissistic partners rarely begin a relationship with obvious cruelty because they often hide unhealthy patterns behind gestures that appear incredibly romantic. They make you feel uniquely chosen, deeply desired, and emotionally important until their affection slowly becomes the very thing controlling your choices. The hardest part is that these behaviors often resemble love so closely that even intelligent and emotionally aware people struggle to recognize them. By the time the truth becomes clear, many people have already sacrificed their confidence, independence, and emotional security without realizing what happened. Today, we will uncover the toxic behaviors that often look like love from a narcissistic partner and explain why they slowly damage healthy relationships. Stay with us until the end because understanding these hidden patterns could completely change the way you define love and emotional safety forever. The first toxic behavior is excessive attention that feels like a dream come true during the beginning of the relationship. Your narcissistic partner may constantly message you, shower you with compliments, and insist that you are the best thing that ever happened to them. At first, this overwhelming affection feels exciting because everyone naturally enjoys feeling appreciated, admired, and emotionally important by someone they love. However, this intense attention is often designed to create emotional dependence before a healthy level of trust has naturally developed between both partners. Instead of allowing love to grow gradually, they rush emotional intimacy until you begin relying heavily on their constant approval and attention. When the affection suddenly disappears later, you desperately try to regain the warmth that originally made you feel so incredibly special. The second behavior is jealousy that is presented as proof of deep love and emotional commitment toward you. They may become upset whenever you spend time with friends, family members, or coworkers because they claim they simply cannot bear losing you. Although healthy relationships involve occasional insecurity, constant jealousy is usually about control rather than genuine emotional attachment or sincere concern. A narcissistic partner often convinces you that limiting your social life is necessary because they supposedly love you more than anyone else. Slowly, you begin distancing yourself from supportive people while believing you are protecting the relationship instead of losing your independence. The third behavior is making every important decision on your behalf while insisting they only want what is best for you. They may choose your clothes, influence your career decisions, or control financial matters while claiming they are simply being protective and supportive. Real love encourages personal growth and mutual respect, but manipulation quietly replaces your voice with their own personal preferences and expectations. Over time, you may stop trusting your own judgment because they repeatedly convince you that their decisions are always smarter than yours. Eventually, you become dependent on their approval before making even simple choices that once felt completely natural to you. The fourth behavior is giving expensive gifts while expecting unquestioning loyalty and complete emotional obedience in return from you. Their generosity often feels incredibly thoughtful until you realize every gift quietly creates an invisible emotional debt that must eventually be repaid. Whenever disagreements happen, they remind you of everything they have done as if love should always require repayment and gratitude. Healthy giving comes without hidden expectations because genuine love values freedom instead of creating emotional obligations through material generosity. When gifts become tools of guilt, they are no longer expressions of affection but carefully disguised methods of emotional influence. The fifth behavior is constant checking on your location while describing it as genuine concern for your safety and well-being. They ask where you are, who you are with, and what you are doing almost every hour throughout the day. Initially, this attention feels comforting because it creates the impression that someone genuinely cares about your happiness and personal safety. Eventually, those questions become demands, and your privacy slowly disappears without you realizing how much personal freedom has been surrendered. You begin explaining every movement to avoid conflict instead of living comfortably with normal independence and mutual trust. The sixth behavior is expecting you to sacrifice your needs because they insist relationships always require unconditional selflessness and complete loyalty. Whenever you express emotional needs, they accuse you of being selfish or claim you simply do not understand real love. This slowly teaches you to ignore your own feelings while constantly prioritizing their emotional comfort above your own personal well-being. Healthy love creates balance where both people matter equally instead of expecting one partner to endlessly carry the emotional burden. When only one person's needs are consistently important, the relationship quietly becomes emotionally unhealthy and deeply exhausting. The seventh behavior is apologizing beautifully without making meaningful changes to harmful behaviors that repeatedly hurt you emotionally. After painful arguments, they may cry, promise transformation, and speak with incredible sincerity that seems impossible to doubt. For a short time, everything feels peaceful until the same behaviors quietly return and the painful cycle begins again. Real apologies are measured by consistent actions rather than emotionally convincing words that temporarily restore hope without lasting improvement. Repeated promises without genuine change often become another powerful strategy for keeping someone emotionally attached despite ongoing emotional pain. The eighth behavior is making you believe nobody else could ever truly understand or love you like they do. They slowly criticize your friends, question your family's intentions, and suggest that everyone else secretly wants to hurt or abandon you. This creates emotional isolation because the narcissistic partner becomes your primary source of comfort after destroying your outside support system. Once isolated, leaving the relationship becomes much harder because you genuinely believe no one else will accept or understand you. This belief keeps many people trapped in unhealthy relationships long after the emotional damage has become painfully obvious. The ninth behavior is turning every disagreement into proof that you are the real problem within the relationship. Whenever you express hurt feelings, they redirect the conversation until you end up apologizing for raising the issue at all. This emotional reversal leaves you questioning your own memory, feelings, and perception of what actually happened during conflicts. Over time, your confidence weakens because you begin trusting their version of reality more than your own personal experiences. This confusion creates emotional dependence because you constantly seek reassurance from the very person causing your self-doubt. The final behavior is making you feel responsible for fixing every problem that exists within the relationship. They convince you that if you loved them enough, everything would improve and conflicts would completely disappear with greater effort. This creates endless emotional pressure because you continually search for ways to save a relationship that requires two willing participants. Love should never require abandoning your identity, your peace, or your emotional well-being just to keep another person satisfied. Healthy relationships grow through honesty, respect, accountability, and emotional safety rather than fear, confusion, and constant emotional uncertainty. Recognizing these behaviors does not mean every difficult relationship involves narcissism, but repeated patterns deserve honest attention and careful reflection. The moment you stop confusing manipulation with love is often the moment you begin reclaiming your confidence and emotional freedom. If today's insights helped you see relationships from a completely different perspective, share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, genuine love brings peace, security, and mutual respect instead of emotional confusion, fear, and constant self-doubt. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video with more powerful insights into relationship psychology and emotional healing.